Hey, everybody. Welcome to the podcast. Happy to be here. So happy. We have a timer going. I've got my car keys with me and my mace because this is what it's like to be a chick in the world. Although I think some men, look, it may not be manly in your mind, but carry some mace. My man was saying he was going to buy some. The world is wild. And if a little extra spicy hairspray can save you, go out and get you some. Make it match your outfit. Even if you're a straight guy, it's not too gay. Get a colorful color. Is purple your favorite color? Doesn't make you gay. Just makes you someone who likes purple. So I got my little mace right here. I have a bunch of things I want to discuss as per usual because I talk way too much. I chit-chat way too much. I was built for podcasting. And hopefully somebody's listening. And if you are listening, you know, I've asked this and I've stopped for a couple weeks, but I want you to rate the podcast 5 stars. That's all I'm going to say. Go ahead and rate it 5 stars. It means the world. I'm racing against time. I'm still in competition with Mike Tully, who has 1,000 5-star ratings on his podcast, and that's exactly what I want. So if you could go rate the pod, that would be amazing. Also, if you want to call the pod and leave a voicemail and have an opportunity for us to listen to your craziness for once, call us 513-916-0930 and leave us a message. You can even text us as well. And what else do we have going on? Tour dates. We're going to be adding some tours to the website, jessimae.com. I'm going to be in Oklahoma. I'm going to be in Syracuse, I think Chicago. I also have the Netflix is a Joke Festival date coming up. Bourbon Room in Hollywood, May 10th. That's 2 full hands. That's a Friday. It's going to be so much fun with a few of my comedy besties. Katie Cazorla, whose comedy club opens tonight. Soft opening of the Kookaburra Lounge in Hollywood. One of my comedy besties is opening a club. I'm so happy for her. She's going to be on the show with me. Her club has a ton of shows for the festival, so she had to hurry up and literally race against time to get her comedy club open. And I was there yesterday getting a free pastrami sandwich. And I'm not a big pastrami eater. I don't know what it is. It feels like something that old people get at a deli. And I love sandwiches, don't get me wrong, but pastrami is a strange one. It's like chewy. It's pink. I don't know what animal it comes from. I don't know what part of what animal it comes from. I do like the mustard they put with it. So I had a free pastrami sandwich from the Kookaburra Lounge. I can't. Already with the Venice sirens. First of all, there's my siren, the laugh, and then there's the Venice sirens in the background. But I'm very excited for Katie's club to be opening. Go support her. It's going to be it is a beautiful club. She handpicked and designed the place herself. She is one of the most insane women I've ever known in my life. And she's this woman who just promotes you, lifts you up, and has 1,000 things going on herself. She's selfless and a powerhouse, so please support her club, the Kookaburra Lounge. There's going to be a lot of shows in the festival at that club. Also at my show is Crystal Marie Denha, who's another one of my besties, who's so freaking funny, one of my favorite comedians to watch. I just love her so much, and she's a dear friend of mine. Justin Martindale, whose podcast, I think it's Just in Time, or Just Saying is his podcast. It's Just Saying. Check him out. His podcast is doing really well, produced by the Comedy Store. And also we have, oh my God, one of my longtime besties, Leah Bonema from New York City. I've known her for years. I actually, quote unquote, started stand-up with her in New York City, and she is also a near and dear friend and has toured with me and has her own great podcast called Were You Raised by Wolves, which is an etiquette podcast, and it's very successful, and she's doing great. So I'm so honored that my friends who are busy doing their own thing are taking time out of their schedule to come do my show, May 10th. The Netflix is a joke fest, Bourbon Room, Hollywood. And other dates, jessimae.com/tour. We're going to be adding as soon as my agent sends us the freaking links so we can add them to the site so you guys can buy tickets and come see me. And don't forget that a portion of whatever you do to support me goes to Hilarity for Charity, Seth Rogen and Laura Rogen's Alzheimer's Foundation charity that helps raise funds for families and caregivers specifically, and also to Alzheimer's Association, specifically the SoCal chapter of Southern California. So thank you guys so much. Thank you. And now that all that's out of the way, first, I've been teasing you for a couple weeks, telling you that you wouldn't believe what happened to me at my mom's house. And the reason why I couldn't really show you is because we were under contract, and that contract was compromised. And I can't say much more because, people be peopling, and I don't want to get sued. But because people be peopling, it was a very stressful month. Trying to sell a home, it's not cut and clean. It's not like you're like, oh, I'm going to sell a home and then it sells. You would think like, oh, I'm going to put a house on a market. It'll sell. Oh, will it? Because somebody might want to buy it and then be like, I don't think I want to buy it. Well, we're under contract. And it's proved to be a very difficult and challenging experience. But I am so grateful for my mother for leaving something tangible behind. And the reason why I've been teasing you about you not believing what happened to me at my mom's house is because it's just typical Jessimae fashion. I'm a klutz, and I make the most honorable attempts at life. And just really, I give it my best shot. Sometimes I fall short, but I keep on going. Damn it. Some days are harder than others, but this little thing that I'm going to share with you at the end of the podcast is definitely a symbol of my fortitude and tenacity and my determination. Also, maybe my resourcefulness. I'm not sure. I'll leave that up for you guys to decide. But I was thinking about this recently, how grateful I was for my mom to actually leave something behind, leave something tangible, and leave something to help us. She was the only one out of my parents that did that. My mom left everything organized in a safe, labeled with directions. She filled everything out. My dad left us a plant and some debt from the OTP. He owed change of pace, probably a couple, 200-300 for bar Keno. But my mom had her shit organized. Not everybody can be organized in life, but I think there is something to being organized in death, even. And my mother was good at that. She was a very organized person, and maybe to a fault. They always say like your greatest contribution can become your biggest liability. And she was definitely anal. We used to call her Anal Annie. And my dad was Nervous Norvis. And I got a blend of both. I'm anal and nervous. It's not a great blend. It's a very difficult blend to exist with. But I really did think like I was so grateful that she left something behind for my sister and I, and made what she went through, made her passing be something a little bit easier for my sister and I to go through. And it's not something you necessarily think about when you're living, how to take care of people when you're dead. But it is probably the biggest thing you could do for someone in your life is consider, well, when I die, how can I make it easier for whoever has to take care of me? And it's a little macabre to think that, but there are people who have to do this alone. I can't imagine if I had to do this alone with selling the house and unpacking the house, packing it up, cleaning it out. I wouldn't have been able to do it. And some people have to do it. And so there are things you can do to make that easier for those people posthumously after you pass, to make it so that they're not so stressed out cleaning out all of your paper clip collections. Nancy had paper clip collections. I'm not even exaggerating. This woman, if there was something to buy, she bought every color, every single color, even if it was a paper clip. She even got designed paper clips. No, not just red ones, not just green ones. She got red and green ones for Christmas. She had Christmas paper clips. Hello, hoarders. TLC, where were you when my mom was alive? That's what I recommend for everybody. Call TLC while your parents are alive with their hoarding so they can help you clean out the house before they die so you don't have to do it alone. Get the network to do it. It's Jessimae's Death Etiquette Tips 101. Call TLC and have them clean out your mom's paper clip collection. Nancy had scissors. We've talked about the scissors. What is she cutting? I don't know what she needed to cut. How many cuts did she need to make in life? Even though she was a seamstress, okay? My mom was a part-time seamstress and a low-level hoarder to mid-high range hoarder. Actually, she was every level of hoarder, just depend on what the thing was that she collected that indicated that she was hoarding. She collected everything. We've talked about it before. I mean, it looks like the house at some points looked like she robbed a Home Depot and also made a swing by Staples. Is this lady's just going around town robbing Lowe's, Home Depot, and Staples? What is she planning on doing? Running for office? Is she going to open an office? If she's not doing either one of those things, people better come over here and do taxes. We had all the paperwork and utensils you needed for taxes. That's right. We had tax utensils. Bet you didn't even know that was a thing. But Nancy collected it all. And then it was funny as I was cleaning stuff out. You know, the apple doesn't fall too far from the tree. Me having my mother's anxiousness and my dad's anxiety and my mom's anal retention. I also was cleaning stuff out and found a box of my own collections. I collected keychains. I had 2 full shoe boxes of keychains. Didn't have a set of keys to my name. Didn't even have a house keys. Nancy made us keep one at the house. We didn't really use our house keys. We had an emergency set in the back that my dad would break into after my parents broke up. And my mom would come home. My dad would be in the house cooking steak. This was after they got separated. Joe Peluso remembered where the emergency keys were. He used to let himself in, make dinner, because he was lonely. And my mom would come home, and this was after I left the house, too. I mean, he did this for years. She'd call me up and be like, Jesus Christ, your father's in the kitchen. I came home, he was in the kitchen cooking sausage. Not even her sausage, not even his sausage, her sausage. He used to come over, let himself into my mom's house, make her food, and drink her beer. He was a beaut. He's what we used to call in the biz a beaut. And, you know, I collected keychains. Maybe it was my way of communicating to my mother that, hey, could I get a set of keys to get in the house? All these keychains. I had keychains with my initials on them, a stuffed leopard print animal. There's a pink Power Ranger in that box that I see. I see an LA Gear keychain. I'm mad. I threw all of this away. Was that a bad move? I should have kept the keychains. Debbie says I should have kept the keychains. Maybe I went a little overboard. Maybe I let go of too much. I might have let go of a little too much, but I think is what I needed to do in order to really get through the process of cleaning out that house, because I'm so anal retentive like Nancy that the only way I'd really want to clean through the house would be to clean through every single little item. And I mean, just the keychains alone would take me a couple weeks. I can see that there is a Jim Carrey Joker keychain. I can't believe I threw that out. That's a freaking collector's item. There's a Jim Carrey. Do you see these photos? There's the Goldberg. If you don't know Goldberg, you don't know life. I think he was WCW. I used to have a blow up Goldberg doll that was a vent toy that I put in the vent of my 1990 Oldsmobile 88. That's right. A few different dates on that sucker. Nobody knew what the car was called. It was a 1990 Oldsmobile 88. What year was it? We don't know. Nobody knows. Not even Oldsmobile knows. And so I had this Goldberg doll that I used to put into my vent. And when you punched it in the stomach, it used to go, and you'd punch it again, and it would go, this is Goldberg. And it was my most prized possession, and I threw that out. I threw it all out. I had to let go of all of it. Debbie's talking about this one keychain. It says, look for a man with a VCR. What does that mean? What's the VCR stand for? Very cute rear? What does it stand for? Can you read it? I think there's a keychain in there that says, I look for a man with a very VCR, and I'm pretty sure it means very cute rear. Yeah. Why did I get rid of that keychain? Why did I get rid of that keychain? I don't know, but a very cute rear. I threw away all these keychains. It was so stupid. You're right. I should have kept them. Something fell behind me that scared me. Is it because I told you to shut the fuck up? It was instant karma. I had a super soaker keychain. Are you kidding me right meow? I'm looking at this box. I don't know what Ariel's doing in there. There's a little toy of Ariel. She's not a keychain. She just was like a bendable toy that I used to put into my tub well into my teens. I used to take baths. I didn't care. I was a grown adult taking baths and living my best life as a kid. And I think maybe that's part of it. I feel like I'm so extreme and I'm sitting here regretting and feeling this regret over not keeping some of this stuff. But I know myself. I would have had to go through every single little item and that would have driven me nuts. It would have taken me forever and then I just wouldn't have let go. And I went to the extreme of letting go of all of it. And I even threw away boxes of photos. And, I think part of the process of letting go of things is realizing how much certain things have an attachment and how you have an attachment to certain things. It's like that saying, you either have it or it has you. And I could feel all of these things and feel the weight of them and feel the weight of the whole house, all the items in the house. All of it felt so heavy and not in a bad way. It was like holding on to all the memories you've ever had in your life. And for me, it was hard to cherry pick them. In that moment, at least, I needed to go through and just toss everything in an extreme way in order to get through the process. And now I'm here to say, maybe take your time. We've talked about that on a previous episode where I actually talked about and was at my house. If you have the ability to take time cleaning out a home, take as much time as you can. And I wish, and I'm someone who's not afraid to talk about regrets. I do have regrets, and I wish I would have, my stepdad was in that house. I wish I would have taken time and really cleaned through things and took advantage of that time that he was there and use it to my advantage. And now I'm here staring at this box of keychains, feeling like I lost a friend. I feel like I let go of a bunch of friends. Debbie's pissed. Debbie's absolutely pissed because I let go of all of these keychains, and she's gonna be mad that she's not gonna be able. She's mad because she wanted one, but I had to let go because it's the only way to do it. It's the only way to clear up some space. Speaking of clearing up some space, I almost lost my lunch this morning. I wanted to tell you guys about one thing you should not do in the daytime is read the news while you're eating your lunch. It's the worst thing you could do because you never know what the news is going to deliver to you. And so I'm sitting there. I went to the gym and I need to eat right after or someone's going to get murdered. I don't know what that is called scientifically. People call it hanger or hangry. There's got to be something in my genetics where if I don't bite into some sort of form of meat after I work out, I might hurt an elderly person. And I shouldn't be held responsible for that. That's all I'm saying. But I read CNN's 5 things. It's a quick little way of staying in touch with what's going on in the world. 3 out of 5 are infuriating and they cause you stress. And then there might be one cute thing about it. People getting attacked by monkeys in a zoo or, something where you're like, oh, this is fun. So I'm literally biting into a burger. And I read this part. The title's Bird Flu. That's on me. That's on me for reading bird flu as I bit into a burger. U.S. Department of Agriculture says it's testing beef, including ground beef from grocery stores, for the presence of the H5N1 bird flu virus that is spreading in dairy cattle. The agency is also conducting cooking studies, which will inoculate ground beef with a virus surrogate and cook it to different temperatures to see how much virus is killed under each heat setting. The agency sought to quell concerns. The agency sought to quell concerns about the consuming beef, saying in a statement Monday that the USDA is confident that the meat supply is safe. It outlined multiple safeguards in place and recommended consumers cook meat to a safe internal temperature, which kills bacteria and viruses. Let me tell you, anytime an agency sought to quell concerns, I don't trust it. I feel like people aren't always taking the proper measures, and now we're depending on people who are exhausted, probably working 2 jobs to make sure that there's a safe internal temperature. Needless to say, I stopped eating my burger because I have a visceral imagination. And the moment I bit into my burger and I said to myself, I'm going to read an article about bird flu, it was on me. I couldn't continue eating the burger. So I'm going to give it to my dogs. I'm going to give it to Chicken. His name's Chicken. There might be bird flu in it. Maybe it'll cancel each other out. Maybe I'll cure bird flu. Maybe the cure for bird flu is to feed your bird flu infested burger to a dog named Chicken. I'm not saying I'm a scientist. I could be onto something. The other thing that I thought about while I was out and about, I've sort of made this pact to not eat out so much, even though I had a burger for lunch outside today. I have this pact myself to not spend so much money on food, especially in the city. My burger and a side salad was $30. Just a cheeseburger and a side salad. The audacity. It's insanity. It's way too expensive. Yeah, it's a good burger. But I mean, you can get a burger at a friend's house in their backyard and it's a good burger. So I made this pact with myself to not eat out so much. It's so expensive. There's a place down here called Erewhon, and no one has any business going there. You're only going there so you can Instagram yourself. You're buying a $7 apple. You're paying $20 for a freaking smoothie. It's not worth it. But I do enjoy going out to dinner, and I do enjoy eating. It's one of my favorite things in life. And when I go out and travel, I love to eat dinner. It's my favorite thing. But one of my pet peeves, and one of the reasons why I don't even want to use bathrooms when I go out to eat, is because even the nice restaurants have gross bathrooms. And I always have thought, if they keep their bathroom like this, how are they keeping their kitchen? And it should be any restaurant that is of somewhat decent quality. People should be checking the bathroom regularly and at least holding up some sort of idea that the place is clean. Places don't even care. There's tissue all over the place. It looks like somebody went in there and had an absolute schizophrenic episode. It looks like a place where a homeless person lives sometimes in some of these restaurants. And I can't. I made the mistake. I went out to a restaurant. I went to the bathroom and I was like, I had already eaten. And I was like, man, if I had come in here before, I would not have eaten the food. And maybe this is a first world problem. Maybe there's some people out there saying, oh, you haven't lived life. I've traveled. I've lived life. I also have worked hard for my money, and I don't feel like spending my money in a place where someone just can't pick up in their bathroom. And then I didn't feel so bad because I had read this article. I can't remember what the title was, but it was an Anthony Bourdain article that resurfaced. And then someone also mentioned me about Anthony Bourdain and reminded me, he said this quote, "I won't eat in a restaurant with filthy bathrooms. This isn't a hard call. They let you see the bathrooms. If the restaurant can't be bothered to replace the puke on the urinal or keep the toilets and floors clean, then just imagine what the refrigeration and workspace looks like." And I am out. For that reason, I'm out, sharks. There's no deal. We're pulling the deal off the table. So this is my request to anybody out there who owns a restaurant, knows somebody who owns a restaurant, clean your damn bathroom. For anal, anxiety-ridden people like myself. Thank you very much. I also was on a walk. I like walks. Walks help my mind. Walks can be very meditative, and I used to do them a lot more in COVID. There were so many great things about COVID. Just being home all day long and gorging on food was great, wasn't it? Not worrying about work. God, what a life. Now we're back in this damn rat race. Bring me back to my pajamas and walks. I used to walk a lot, and I enjoy them very, very much. It's one of the reasons why I like having dogs, because they force you to walk, be out in the neighborhood and see what people are moving in, see what people are moving out. You can peek into people's garages and see how they live. I really, truly believe you can tell a lot by how someone lives, by how they keep their garage. Some people look like they build spaceships in their garage. like Doc from Back to the Future. What are you doing in there, man? It does not look up to code whatsoever. There's sparks every day. Smells like burnt hair. And aliens keep flying above your house. What is happening? What in Oppenheimer's going on Candy Lane? And some people have garages that are so clean, you know for sure that there are bodies buried in the concrete. You're like, oh, that's the murder house. See, it's not the house that's sloppy. It's the one that's like really clean. That's like the, professional serial killer. That's like the 9-to-5 murderer. We're talking American Psycho. Everything's in bins. It's all neatly stacked. It's labeled. I realize I just described my own garage. I literally just described my garage. Try me. And there's garages that are obviously some guy's attempt at staying away from his wife. He's got his tools out there and his bench. He's got his press, the press bench. What do they call that thing? Bench press? And the guys are down there and they're smoking the cigarette and they're bench pressing. It's the only workout they've ever remembered from the 80s that they still do. It's the one thing they still do. I just love garages. They tell you a lot by someone's house. But I was out, going for a walk, enjoying the neighborhood, and I came across this Buddhist home. I knew it was Buddhist just because of the decor and the way it smelled Buddhist. If you ever walked by a Buddhist home, you know what I'm talking about. Smells like vortices and sage. Smells like no spirits are lingering for too long. And it had all the decor and the flags and a lot of shrines, a couple deities in the front. It looked very traditional, like a very traditional Buddhist home. And there was a sign, and a lot of decor on the outside of it. I wish I would have taken a photo, but I don't necessarily feel great about taking pictures of other people's homes. A lot of decor. There's a lot of different signs and flowers, really beautiful on the outside. And there was a placard that said, "We come in peace." I thought, well, that's beautiful. Look at this home. These people living this Buddhist lifestyle. This home that feels so peaceful and very specifically decorated and just authentic. And then just beyond that, "We come in peace" sign was another sign that was a picture of a gun and said, "We're heavily armed." And I thought, oh, wow, well, that just changed. The story changed real quick. Wow, that narrative took a turn. It's like, we come in peace, but watch out for our peace. And then I thought, I'm here for that balance. I really am here for that. Like, we're peaceful and we mean you no harm, but rest assured, if you try to harm us, we will retaliate. Okay? And don't think Buddhists don't have some armor. Don't think we don't have a couple, that we're not packing heat. It feels a little contradictory, but then again, I'm not surprised. Nothing surprises me anymore. I just was very impressed with the purely authentic peace and then a very authentic peace threatening my peace. There's a lot of peace to be handled and processed in this home. And it made me think of this article I had seen, and there was a little, I think a little piece of it was on Instagram. It was from the Wall Street Journal. And the title is, "They Got a Sleep Divorce. Their Marriage Has Never Been Better." And this whole idea about sleep divorces, where you don't actually get a divorce, but you break up the bed, which kind of sounds great. I love my sleep. And sleep to me is king. Sleep trumps everything. Because if I don't get my sleep, you're not going to get the best version of me. And if we don't have sleep chemistry, we have to figure it out. Sleep chemistry is sometimes more important than any other chemistry, because if you don't get the sleep you need, all your chemistry is going to be messed up. And maybe you're not this way. I obviously am a sensitive person. But this article said Elizabeth Pearson and her husband, Ryan, have been married for 16 years. And for half of that time, they've slept in separate bedrooms. Ryan, 47, is 6 feet 6 inches, snores like a chainsaw, and has restless leg syndrome. Yikes, get a divorce. And on one occasion, he punched Elizabeth in the face while she was sleeping. Waking up angry at him every morning was driving a rift in the relationship. I'd say so. It sounds like he married a Sasquatch. The couple now shares a 6-bedroom, 4-bath Mediterranean home in Laguna, California that they purchased in 2017 for $1.5 million. Now Ryan sleeps on the first floor and Elizabeth sleeps on the second, each in a bedroom with an ensuite bath, and their marriage is thriving. Like the Pearsons, many couples today are opting for a sleep divorce, choosing to use the so-called snore rooms, which I am 100% here for, or dual primary bedrooms instead of following a typical marital path of sharing a bed. According to a survey conducted in March 2023 by the American Academy of Sleep Medicine, 35% of Americans sleep in separate rooms occasionally or consistently. The trend of sleeping apart is nothing new. Sleep expert Wendy Troxel, she has a PhD in senior behavioral and social science at some college, and the author of Sharing the Covers, Every Couple's Guide to Better Sleep, says that couples have been sleeping separately for centuries. Then why are we getting forced to be in the same bed? Why don't houses come with two masters? Why don't houses come with separate sleep rooms for people? Why do we have to feel like we're so forced to do everything together all the time? Let's be real. Our spouses are annoying. Elizabeth said that sleeping separately doesn't necessarily mean a couple has a relationship problem. It's more about how couples arrive at the decision to sleep apart. So you guys can check that out in the Wall Street Journal. But I thought that was so interesting because I am so specific about sleep. I'm so specific about my sleep, and it can cause a lot of problems. If you're snoring, I'm waking up. Am I a sound sleeper? No. Is that my problem? Sure. But now I got to put like putty in my ears and some sort of NASA space shuttle helmet on my head for me to get the amount of darkness and quiet that I need to be able to fall asleep. I realize that's a lot to deal with, but so is your snoring. And what are you grinding on? Are you a chipmunk? What's in your mouth? Why do you make so many noises? And people in their sleep when they're like, are you a Saint Bernard? My dog's more quiet than you are. And those nocturnal emissions, not talking about farts. I am talking about farts. Those little gentle ones that get released. Why? Why do I have to deal with this? You need your own fart and sleep room. So I'm 100% here for a sleep divorce. I think that's a really modern way to keep a relationship. And then if you guys want to have like a sleepover, you can make it cute. You can make it cute. Why are we forced to be in a room with someone who, let's be honest, annoys us all day long, and now they have to annoy us all night long? Maybe some of you are like, oh, that's jaded. Relationships, you should do everything together. Okay, do everything together and let me know how that works out. Let me know how the whole everything together works out for you. Because the way I see it, one of the most popular cliches and sayings is absent makes the heart grow what? Fonder. Absence can make the relationship stronger. There's my cliche. Absence makes the heart grow stronger, and absinthe makes the relationship stronger. Let's be real. People are annoying, and they're snoring. So you're snoring and you're annoying? A double whammy? No, thank you. Maybe this is why I might turn into a spinster. I'm too picky. But you know what? I'm not. I am who I am. Okay, Popeye? I know what I need to sleep. And I need peace and quiet. I did tell you I was going to tell you something that embarrassed me and what you won't believe happened to me. And I'm going to get to it because, by golly, we've been talking about it for 3 weeks. So when I was at my home and cleaning everything out, wondering if my mom had a sleep divorce with my stepdad, going through all her scissors and all my keychains and everything, I also found a picture of my mom's mom, Betty. We called her Betty Boop, and her boyfriend, Jim. And if it doesn't look like the cover of Netflix's next murder documentary, I don't know what does. Look at these two. It's like Betty and Jim, the sweet couple nobody understood. The sweet couple everybody assumed was sweet. Little did they know, children were going missing. These two literally look like they were murdering kids in the neighborhood. And my grandma couldn't have been a sweeter woman. Grandma Betty Boop, are you kidding me? The softest hands. Sweetest, biggest heart. She used to send me a $15 check for every birthday. She did that to all her grandkids. But in this photo, she looks like her and her husband have a murder ring in Hillsborough, New York. And I don't know if you can put people who look like that behind bars. They're too cute. Is there a too cute clause for murderers? I'd watch this Netflix documentary series. I also found my favorite place, well, one of my favorite spots in Syracuse, in my actual neighborhood. One of the things I used to love, and I don't know why, maybe because I'm a weirdo, is the sidewalk around my house and around my neighborhood had the stamp of the contractors stamped into the concrete. James Ross and Son Contractors, Syracuse, New York, and it's got the telephone number. And when I was home, I took a photo of it because when I looked down and saw that, these memories came flooding back. These memories of running around in my neighborhood and growing up outside and living this idyllic childhood in upstate New York on the north side of Syracuse. And it really holds a special place in my heart. This little stamp in the concrete, this stupid stamp. I looked down and I got all sentimental and took a photo of it. But what happened to me that was so ridiculous, embarrassing, my sister and I, we had to go home and we were finalizing cleaning the home because the buyers were going to move in. Little did we know that didn't really work out. But we had to clean the house out and get this done quick. And so my sister and I left her house and drove over to to north side in upstate New York. And it's about a 15, 20-minute drive from my sister's home. And so we pull up and we go to the door and my sister goes, "Oh no." And I said, "What?" She goes, "I forgot the keys." And I'm like, "Oh no." Okay. So she's like, "We got to go back." I'm like, No. We're not going back. Jessimae, don't go back. I only go forward. Okay. The wake doesn't move the boat. The motor does. So we don't live in the wake, sis. We're moving forward. She's like, "No, we got to go get the keys." I'm like, "We're not getting the keys. Okay. We don't have the keys. Nothing we're going to do. We're going to get into this freaking house one way or another. We're going to get into this house." I'm like, "There's got to be a window open." So we go around the whole house. I used to break into this place. I used to break into this place all the time when I was a teenager, out drinking, hanging around, running around in the streets, hanging around at the Webster Middle School until midnight, like some sort of criminal. I used to have to sneak back into the house. I was a king of sneaking back in. And so I was like, we're going to find a way to get back into this house. Go around the whole thing. Emily's like, "We're going to have to get the keys." Sure enough, there was one window open. One sweet window on the side of the house. And I had to try and get myself hoisted up. And my sister just is the worst wingman ever. First of all, I'm in platform Converse and my neighbor comes out because he assumed someone was breaking into the house. And he was right. It was my sister and I. We had to break into our own home. I'm in my platform Converse on a recycle bin and I go to jump and I land like a drunk bear on that damn window frame. And then my sister proceeds to shove me through.
Where are you going?
Shoves me through. And the problem was that there was a table on the inside of the house that was close that I had to shove away from the window as I was shoved through from the outside. And I felt like a hero, but also a failure at the same time. But we got in. We got in. We made it work. But we also got the police called on us as my neighbor came out because he assumed that it was someone squatting. And we probably should have squatted in our own home. Why not? Why not experience everything that home has to offer you before you give it away? But we had to give it away, and we're still in the process, and you got to have fun through all of that, all that craziness in life, the letting go, the holding on, everything. It's all wild. It's all chaotic, but there is something beautiful in all of it. And when I sat down to record today, my assistant was laughing because I was so dramatic about the video of me going into the river. I was like so in my head about that river. And it wasn't that big of a deal. Like looking at it, it's ridiculous. Looking at what I was so afraid of was so ridiculous. And I feel like if we can just have a little bit more of a sense of humor about ourselves, we can get through everything. Like we overthink so much. I know I overthink so much. I'm like the Oprah of overthinking. You get a thought and you get a thought and you get a thought. Every corner of my mind gets a thought. And so I think in the process of the house, I even overthought as well. But that overthinking is what got me in. So take that, Emily, Jane Peluso, DeMarco. Or is it DeMarco Peluso? I don't know what you do when you get married. Well, I know one thing you do. You get a sleep divorce. I'm here for that. And I'm glad you guys were here for this. Thank you so much for listening. I hope you have a great week. Bye.